A school records a student's name before knowing who that student is. An employer reviews a resume before meeting the applicant. A government assigns legal categories that determine access, rights, and responsibilities. Digital platforms sort billions of people through profiles, preferences, and behavioral patterns. Recognition appears everywhere in modern life. Most of the time, it passes unnoticed. Yet, recognition is never a simple administrative act. To recognize something is to identify it, classify it, place it within a framework, and attach meaning to it. Human beings move through these processes constantly. They are identified, evaluated, categorized, welcomed, ignored, trusted, questioned, celebrated, or dismissed. Many of those judgments emerge before a conversation begins. Welcome to Season 2 of the Dignity Negotiation. The first season explored how institutions shape behavior, legitimacy, creativity, and participation. This season turns toward identity. Identity is usually discussed through personal experience. People describe who they are, where they come from, what they believe, and how they understand themselves. These questions matter. Yet, identity does not develop in isolation. Human beings encounter systems of recognition long before they develop complete control of how they present themselves to the world. Families develop expectations. Schools establish standards. Communities define belonging. Institutions create categories. Media systems circulate the narratives. By the time most people begin asking who they are, they have already spent years navigating ideas about who they should be. Visibility sounds straightforward. Someone appears, others notice. The reality is more complicated. The same individual can be perceived very differently depending on the context. A behavior interpreted as confidence in one environment may be interpreted as arrogance in another. A characteristic celebrated by one community may attract suspicion elsewhere. Interpretation sits between observation and judgment. People rarely respond to raw reality. They respond to the meanings attached to what they believe they are seeing. For this reason, visibility is never simply a matter of attention. It is also a process through which meaning is assigned. Several thinkers approached this question from different directions. Martin Buber argued that humans come to understand themselves through encounters with others. Jacques Lacan suggested that selfhood develops partly through reflection and recognition. The Johari window offers a practical version of a similar insight. Some dimensions of ourselves remain visible to others while you're remaining hidden from our own awareness. These perspectives differ substantially. What connects them is a shared recognition that identity cannot be reduced either to self-definition or to public perception. The relationship remains unsettled, and that tension matters because recognition is not distributed equally. Every society develops standards that influence what appears legitimate, respectable, credible, professional, normal, or desirable. Some standards are written into policy. Others operate informally through culture, habit, and expectation. Schools reward particular forms of participation. Employers reward particular forms of conduct. Communities reward particular forms of belonging. Digital platforms reward particular forms of visibility. None of these systems completely determine identity. Yet, all of them influence the conditions under which recognition occurs. The result is a continuous negotiation between personal experience and social interpretation. This negotiation becomes especially visible when self-understanding and public perception collide. Many people have experienced situations in which they felt reduced to a category, a stereotype, a role, or a single characteristic. Others encounter assumptions before they have even spoken. Some find themselves repeatedly explaining who they are, while others move through environments where recognition arrives more easily. The distribution is uneven, but the consequences are not. Recognition influences opportunity. It influences credibility. It influences belonging. And in many cases, it influences whose voice is considered legitimate. Visibility can create opportunities. It can also create expectations. Once people become recognizable through a particular lens, that lens can begin shaping how future actions are interpreted. Institutions, communities, audiences, and algorithms all participate in this process. The challenge is not that recognition exists, as no society functions without it. The challenge concerns authority. Who establishes the categories through which recognition occurs? Who determines what appears normal? Who decides which identities become legible and which remain difficult to to understand. These questions sit beneath many contemporary debates, even when they are not explicitly named. The society cannot simply operate without interpretation. Every institution depends upon categories. Every community develops norms, and every culture creates expectations. The question is not whether these processes should exist. The question concerns on how they operate and how much authority they possess over the lives of others. Identity enters that conversation immediately because people are judged, accepted, rejected, celebrated, criticized, included, or excluded. They must first be recognizable. Recognition sounds simple. In practice, it shapes far more than first impressions. It shapes belonging, legitimacy, and participation itself. The struggle is rarely limited to visibility alone. The deeper tension concerns the meaning attached to what becomes visible. Recognition creates order. Recognition also creates boundaries. Every society depends upon both. Understanding identity, therefore, requires more than understanding individuals. It requires examining the systems, institutions, expectations, and interpretations that influence how individuals become recognizable in the first place. That is where decision begins.